Antigua and Barbuda. Paradise to the world, but beauty here is only the surface. The turquoise water and soft sand are real, but so is the weight of history beneath them. Old sugar mills stand as silent witnesses to a past built on exploitation. The land's layout, deep harbors, rolling cane fields, was shaped for empire, not for its people. Barbuda, flat and wild, was a private hunting ground, its fate decided by outsiders. This beauty was always a resource, something to be used. To truly see these islands, you must look behind the postcard. The past breathes in the air, whispers in the palms, and lingers in every village name. Ships once arrived, not for pleasure but for profit. Labor here was forced, not chosen. Antigua and Barbuda's story is one of survival and resilience, not just sun and sea. The people carry a history of pain and pride, forging a future from a difficult past. The resilience here is as stunning as any sunset. To understand this place, you must see both the beauty and the burden it carries. This is not to spoil the view, but to give it depth. The story begins with this beautiful, complicated truth. Before European ships, these islands had names, people, and stories. The Siboney and then the Arawaks, Taino, lived here, farming, fishing, and building villages. Their world was shaped by seasons, not clocks, and the sea was a road, not a barrier. They carved zemis, honored their gods, and saw beauty as part of daily life. The Caribs, fierce sailors and warriors, followed, challenging the Arawaks for control. European stories painted them as savages, but that was a conqueror's myth. The islands were already a place of migration, struggle, and rich human history. When Columbus sailed by in 1493, he found not a new world, but an old one. He named Antigua after a Spanish church, but did not stay. For a century, Europeans left the islands alone. Resistance and lack of water kept them at bay. But the idea of Antigua and Barbuda was now on their maps, marked for future conquest. The world of the Arawaks and Caribs was living on borrowed time. The shadow of a new, brutal era was falling. These islands were never empty, never waiting to be discovered. Their first peoples are the foundation of all that followed. The land remembers. The old world was about to change forever. The English arrived in 1632, seeking profit, not home. Sugarcane devoured Antigua, transforming forests into endless fields. To work these fields, the English imported enslaved Africans, beginning a brutal era. Life for the enslaved was defined by cruelty. Long hours, violence, families torn apart. People became property, stripped of names, languages, and rights. The entire colonial system, law, church, society, was built to maintain slavery. A few white planters lived in wealth and fear, surrounded by a majority they oppressed. Forts and naval bases like Nelson's Dockyard were built as much for control as for defense. Race determined everything, person or property, power or pain. Yet resistance endured. Slow work, broken tools, secret culture, and sometimes open revolt. Prince Claus's 1736 conspiracy was crushed, but the dream of freedom survived. Even in darkness, the human spirit fought back. The enslaved kept their stories, music, and hope alive. Maroon communities formed, though escape was hard on a small island. Every act of resistance planted seeds for the nation to come. Sugar built a world of inequality, but it could not destroy the will to be free. The bitter harvest was not just sugar, it was survival. This is the root of Antigua and Barbuda's story. Slavery's end came from resistance, abolitionist pressure, and changing economics. In 1834, Britain abolished slavery, but freedom was complicated. Antigua skipped the apprenticeship system, moving straight to emancipation, but the planters still owned the land. The newly freed were landless and poor, forced to work for low wages. True freedom was still out of reach. The old power structures remained. Black Antiguans built free villages relying on family, faith, and small plots. The century after emancipation was a slow struggle, building schools, churches, and dignity. The desire for self-determination grew with each generation. The shadow of the plantation lingered, but the people pressed on. They held on to culture, music, and hope. The long walk to real freedom had begun. The next struggle, to claim their own destiny. The 20th century brought winds of change. Workers' rights movements ignited the push for self-rule. Poor conditions on sugar estates led to strikes and the rise of trade unions. Veer Cornwall Bird emerged as a powerful leader, championing the people. The Antigua Trades and Labor Union became a political force, breaking planter power. Bird and the Antigua Labor Party led the islands to self-government in the 1960s. New schools, hospitals, and roads were built. Tourism began to replace sugar. Nation building brought hope and a new identity. On November 1, 1981, Antigua and Barbuda raised its own flag. Red for the people, blue for hope, black for African roots, and a rising sun for a new dawn. Veer Bird became the first prime minister. Independence was a moment of immense pride. The people were finally masters of their own house. The journey from cane fields to nationhood was complete. The flag told their story. They had a country of their own. Independence brought new challenges. The Bird family dominated politics, bringing both stability and controversy. The economy shifted to tourism. Hotels replaced cane fields, but dependence on visitors made the nation vulnerable. Tourism brought jobs and development, but also inequality and rising costs. Many prospered, but many struggled. Prosperity was not shared equally. Barbuda's unique communal land system clashed with central government plans, fueling tension. In 2017, Hurricane Irma devastated Barbuda, forcing evacuation and exposing the island's vulnerability to climate change. The disaster intensified land disputes as the government pushed for changes in Barbuda's land laws. For Barbudans, it became a fight to save their way of life. The nation's beauty came with a price: economic dependence, political division, and environmental risk. The struggle for equality and identity continued. Paradise was never simple. The islands faced the future with resilience. The story of Antigua and Barbuda is still being written. The price of paradise is never paid in full. Through it all, the spirit of Antigua and Barbuda endures. It pulses in carnivals, music, and color, a celebration of freedom and pride. Soca and calypso tell stories of struggle and joy, connecting past and present. Cricket, once a colonial game, became a symbol of Caribbean excellence. Heroes like Sir Vivian Richards inspired a nation. The church, a pillar after emancipation, remains a source of strength and unity. Faith, family, and community form the bedrock of resilience. The people survived slavery, fought for freedom, and built a nation. Now they face climate change and global challenges with courage. The true beauty of these islands is in their spirit. It is the legacy of the Arawak, Carib, African ancestors, Union leaders, and Barbudans defending their land. This spirit looks at the past, acknowledges pain, and still chooses hope. Antigua and Barbuda, a small place, a large heart.